Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome you guys to the channel. It's your boy Big Dog back with another one take review. Today I got one for Love, Wedding, Repeat. It's a film on Netflix that I just finished watching, and I about to look at my face. You probably can tell what I thought about the film. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Alright, it's basically a story of this guy Jack who tries to make his sister wedding day the most perfect day ever. Only thing about it, certain things start happening that he just can't control. Okay, and it all boils down to 8 people sitting at the table at the. Is it the? I guess it's the reception. You know, you have assigned seats at the reception, and there's 8 people sitting at this table, and it's about alternate versions of how the day would play out depending on who sits by who. Because changing someone's seat changes the entire day completely. Now, what I will say, that's like kind of like the synopsis of the film, is that like, hey, you get to see the different ways that the whole day would turn out. But what I will say, the movie spends the majority of its time showing you how one way plays out, and then it gives you a montage of how the other ways play out, and then by the final one, it's just like, hey, this is how we actually gonna play it out. Because okay, technically the movie's like, I want to say like $140, so maybe the first hour was showing how it initially plays out, and then they show like maybe maybe to like 5 minutes of like the other alternate versions, and then the last version probably take up like the last 35-40 minutes of the film. What I'll say though is like, that's probably my biggest gripe on the film, is that I get that you don't want to go through each and every one of them, but I kind of feel like you showed me one, and like, okay, this is like what the worst possibilities, and the last one was usually going to be like the best possibility. Now, there are still things that happen that, you know what I'm saying, that work in differences. I guess it's kind of like the alternate reality type thing, where like there's a version of me who's like, you know, everybody think like there's a version of you who's a different person. There's a version of me who's not a YouTuber. There's a version of me who's probably more in shape. You know, there's a version of me who's probably bald, who has no facial hair. Okay, it's those type of situations. But this one is like, without thinking that broadly, it's just, hey, these people said this person didn't this Sue didn't sit next to Sam in this situation. Sue sat next to Jack, and those are just examples of names I'm using. And so, you know, things would just play out different. So while I did enjoy them showing the two that they did show, I kind of feel like it wasn't necessary. Okay, I kind of feel like, this could have definitely played out just regularly, and I would have been fine with that. Because I think the movie is funny. I think it's hilarious. I think you got good characters, and I don't have like crazy things going on, so you enjoy that part of it. And there's a storyline that you're watching that you kind of like hoping something happens, and then it teases it from time to time. And I think you could have just made the movie. You could have just used either one of these versions, whether you use the first one or the second one. You kind of could have just extended the movie and just made the movie about that. Because once you said that, hey, these are about the different outcomes to each of these, you know one of them's going to end up good, or multiple will end up good, and multiple will end up bad. So it kind of like takes away from what you're watching. It's like, either way, it's like, there's more, like there's a lot of different things that can happen, and the only thing they take into consideration is the fact that the 8 people switch, and something happens to one person, something specific happens to one person each time. But nonetheless, I really enjoyed the film. I think that's my only knock, and I think it's not big, but it's definitely something that once you see it, you'll be like, okay, yeah, I understand where he was coming from. But overall, I really did dig the film. I just think everybody in was great. Olivia Munn is in this thing, and Jesus. Whew. Man. I just want to just kill someone. That's it. That's just, you know what I'm saying? Just Bro, oh my God. I enjoyed this joint. I definitely recommend you guys check it out. It's on Netflix. Solid movie. Solid. Listen, man, you quarantine. If you one of those lucky people who quarantine with somebody, like the chick or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Your significant other, whatever it may be. I know y'all probably getting, it's about the time where y'all like really getting on each other's nerves right now. Y'all can throw this movie on for like $1.40 and y'all be like, maybe this isn't so bad. Because the alternate reality that you by yourself, right? So, that's an alternate version of me who's enjoying these movies with somebody. Fucking A. You guys, if you've seen it, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. Hit that like button, subscribe to my channel. Stay safe out there, you guys. And I'll catch up with y'all later. Peace.